Gary Donovan.
Here.
Mitchell Gaglione.
Galvinano.
Galvinano. I know how to say it on the white trip every time.
When he's
Galvinano.
He's here.
Alan Brosnan. Joseph Miller. Stacey Riccio. Eleanor Swampa. Here. District 5, Robin Hamilton. Here. Michelle Mays. Edward McMillan. Jeff Moreno. Christopher Sutton.
Here.
Dennis Wright.
Here.
District 6, Carrie Malinow. Here. Patrick Edlow. Lou Esposito. Morgan Watt. Here. Peter Massaro.
Here.
Paul Sikorsky.
Here.
District 7, Harris McGee.
Here.
Stanley Chambers. Renee Barrows. Here. Trenee McGee. Here. Mayor Rossi. Here. Kathy Tucker. Here. District 8, Crystal Finelli. Victor Morris.
Here.
John Roper.
Here.
Rachel Colbera. Sherry Lepper, proxy for Christopher Marco. Abby Waterfield. District 9, Shannon Creel. Robert Bruno.
Here.
Patty Horvath. John Kelly. Michael Lack. Bill Wilson.
Here.
District 10, Kim Kenny. Deborah Collins. Sean Lewis. Tracy Clark. Kathy Hunt. Liv Quagliani, proxy for Ron Butler. Susan Mock. We have 43 members.
That is a quorum. All right, thank you very much. The first order of business, we need to appoint a DTC treasurer. Patrick Lee, who did it for so long, had to resign because of his busy schedule. And I was going to ask Karen Malangone for a nomination.
Thank you, Chairman Last. The person I nominate for the position of treasurer for DTC this evening is trustworthy, committed, and holds the utmost integrity, and the best fit for the position would be Shannon Frail.
Okay, there's a nomination for Shannon Frail for treasurer. Is there a second? Seconded by Robert Bruno and by Patrick Lee. Are there any other nominations for DTC treasurer? Are there any other nominations for DTC treasurer? And for a third and final time, are there any nominations for DTC treasurer? Seeing none, I will close nominations, and all those in favor of Shannon Friel as our next treasurer signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, congratulations, Shannon. And Shannon, Patrick has all the information for you afterwards. Okay. Okay, we're going to move on to the endorsement for the 115th Assembly District. That is the Assembly District that is currently represented by State Representative Dorinda Moore. And the folks in the 115th will need to nominate, second, and vote on that nomination. And I call on Sherry Weber for a nomination.
Thank you for allowing me the right to nominate Dorinda Moore for the 115th State Representative. Dorinda has served West State in the state of Connecticut, proud of her first two terms of office. It is more than deserved of the former party's selection to support her for her. Throughout her life, Dorinda has spent much of her time dedicated to residents of West State and the home past year. When she was First Lady, she was professional, engaged in many community programs and volunteered, and even started many
Thank you. For a second one, Eleanor Slava.
Good evening. Hello. My honor. In these uncertain times, I, along with many other people, find that a consistent presence and a familiar face are very reassuring. Dorinda Bora brings both to the ticket. When I was going around with her putting up signs in my district, the mighty fourth, along with parts of the adjacent first and third, I noticed that people were greeting her with genuine smiles and the obvious pleasure reserved for true friends. I know that she has earned their trust, not by one action or favor, but over time, through consistency, know-how, and a steady hand. I will tell you that I was personally beyond thrilled when Dorinda, as co-chair of Connecticut's Arts, Culture, and Tourism Caucus, invited West Haven to be represented at a caucus meeting held last December at the Connecticut Science Center in Hartford. The event is invitation only, and the reason we were at the table was because Dorinda proactively thought to include us. This is important, especially with so much new arts and culture activity on the horizon. But more about that later. I am equally impressed by
Caucus in Hartford, which consists of all the elected union legislatures across our state, and through this role has hosted a forum for women and minority business owners to help them find funds for their businesses. Because of her government experience and extensive volunteer work, she has become one of the go-to people for help. She has never lost her sense of understanding of public service. Last, I would like to facilitate the to become competitive people. I ask my fellow committee members to stand with me in this time.
Thank you very much. Are there any other nominations for the 115th Assembly seat? For a second time, are there any other nominations for the 115th Assembly seat? And for a third and final time, are there any other nominations for the 115th Assembly seat? Seeing none, nominations are closed, and all those in favor of the 115th or endorse the state rep 115 seat, signify by saying aye. Anybody opposed? I didn't think so. Okay, I would like to introduce my friend, State Representative Dorinda Bora.
Thanks, Mike, and thank you, everybody. Just want to make a few comments, but first I want to say a few thank yous because those were such very kind and sweet and appreciated words by everybody and Sherry. Thanks for the nominations, but I just want to give you way back and been campaigning on a lot of elections together, but you have taken the lead at the registrar's office, and I know that you help, you know, in elections that sometimes are contentious, you're professional, you're calm, and I always know that you'll do the right thing, so thank you for your friendship, I appreciate it, and I know everybody appreciates the work you do in the registrar's office. And Eleanor, thank you for those kind words. You know, you really hit the ground running yourself, taking the lead on arts and culture, and not just that, but so many organizations in West Haven. And, you know, you've helped everybody get elected in this room, and it's people like you who are the backbone for the Democratic Town Committee. So thank you for all that you do. And now I guess I'll see you on the pickleball court, huh? I don't know how to play, but you'll teach me. And I also want to thank our town chair, because I don't know how he does it. I say it to him every week, Mike, I don't know how you do this job. You must get 5 hysterical calls a day, probably 4 of them are mine. But talk about calm, he makes everybody feel like it's going to be okay, be all right, and it always is. And that's because of your leadership, so thank you for your friendship. You know, usually when you, in your acceptance speech, you talk about how important it is that we work together to get our Democratic leaders across the state elected and what's at risk, and that's true, right? It's a very critical election, but I already know we're going to do that, right? Because one thing West Haven does is we turn out the vote, we turn out the Democratic vote. Sometimes I hear people make comments about West Haven, but when the rubber hits the road, we deliver. And we deliver in big time. We're one of the cities that delivers the most votes across the state. So we could be very, very proud of that. This is a very important election. But I want to talk a little bit about closer to home, because I would be remiss if I didn't mention, you know, what transpired today. How can we not talk about that? We went into Tier 4, we know, and this is a critical issue and situation, but even though I know everybody in the room is a little disappointed, right, including myself, because we all work very, very hard for this city, I'm looking at this as a new chapter, an opportunity, a reset, and maybe something on the other side that's going to make us stronger, but we have to do it together. This has been a very tough year for West Haven, right? It's been a very tough year for West Haven Democrats in particular, but look at us, we're still in the majority, still in the lead, and we're going to continue to lead this city, and we're going to see this through. We're resilient, our community is resilient, and we represent that, and people are relying on us, and I know we're going to do a great job together. So, wanted to mention that, but how can we not talk about what's going on in our city? I also want to recognize all of the great work that everybody in this room has done. Thank you for the faith and the confidence that you've had in me. I try to deliver every day for West Haven. Love my job, if you can't tell, that I am very passionate about what I do. And we have a lot of great things that are going on in West Haven that we just need to continue to promote, to show people all the great work that we're doing. You know, yesterday we had a meeting internally about the Haven, our state delegation and the mayor and Lou and our attorney. Last week, our state delegation, I sent a letter to the Haven saying, hey, you know, you asked us to pass this special taxing district, where are you? So we have demanded a meeting with them. We are going to meet with them next week, but we're going to be united and yesterday we met to make sure our strategy is united. We need to determine what our strategy is for this project. Today I met with Ernie down the floodgates. We know that that has been stalled, but we came up with a new timeline, so that is going to be absolutely beautiful. The target date is July 1st. We're going to be doing a joint press conference, just talking about what the challenges have been and talk about how great that's going to be. I think somebody mentioned $2 million. We're going to upgrade the baths along the beach. We have the art center. We have the new money for the boardwalk, and we have all of the great organizations that you are all working in. So a lot of great things happening in West Haven. It's a bump in the road. We're going to get through it, and we're going to do it together. And I really appreciate all of your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Joanna, thank you for everything that you do for West Haven. I don't think, maybe a lot do know it, but I don't think people realize what an important job Joanna had in the state legislature. She's the chairwoman of the bonding committee. And that means that she has every state representative and every state senator for office probably multiple times a week looking for projects. And you do a great job in all your committees, but certainly that's a really powerful one. So okay, let's move on. We are going to start the endorsement for the 116th Assembly seat, and I call on Christopher Suggs for a nomination. Chris, if you want this, I've been hogging this. If you want it, I don't want to work over there.
No. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to nominate an individual who I believe embodies three important characteristics in a leader. The first is self-sacrifice, because it really does take sacrifice to set some of your own personal desires to the side to work for the benefit of other people. Some of the things that you want to do that be put on the back burner for the greater good that you're working towards. The second is courage, because when you're facing the unknown, you don't know what lies on the other side of that. You're in new waters that you don't necessarily know how to navigate, but you have to straighten up your backbone. You have to walk boldly with courage to what lies ahead. And the last one is faith. Not only faith in your own abilities, but faith in the system that you are working for. Faith in other people. Despite all the evil that we see going on around us in the world today, you have to have faith that the good and people will still outweigh all of that evil. And that individual is our freshman state representative, Trenee McGee. Now, in her short time, no, I'm gonna roll through this. In her short time, and just a few short months, Trenee McGee, she has worked with her delegation, and she has worked to champion pandemic pay for essential workers. She has advocated for legislation addressing food insecurity. She has worked to expand children's mental health care services. And if you go onto the state website, CGA, Connecticut General Assembly, and look under the House Dems, Trenee has also co-sponsored over a dozen bills. And you can see that for yourself. So it is with honor, it is with pride that I nominate our freshman city councilman from the 6th, 7th district, who is now our freshman state representative for the 116th district, Trenee McGee.
I have the honor to second the nomination of State Rep. Trenee McGee. I recall meeting Trenee when she walked through the headquarters of the Democratic headquarters, and she came in with this dynamic personality. We instantly wanted her on our team, and she was. She became a 2nd district council person. She led, when she was on the council, she led the resolution declaring racism a public health crisis. After one term on the council, she became a state rep for the 116th district. She hit the floor running. Trenee is fierce. She speaks from her heartfelt convictions, and she speaks for those who cannot speak for themselves. Trenee has already proven she understands the concerns of the 106th district. Trenee is the best candidate for our 106th district, 16th district.
She's nervous, it's okay.
I am. I'm always nervous when I speak. It doesn't get better. And when Trenee McGee wins, West Haven wins. Please join me in supporting my friend, my representative, Trenee McGee, for the 116th State House District.
Are there any other nominations for the 116th State Assembly seat? You have to be in the 116th district. Yeah. No, you have to be in the district, that's why we have to separate it. But if you don't need a second on the nomination, so if somebody wants to make a nomination, you're certainly more than welcome to do that. Are there any other nominations for the 116th Assembly seat? Yep. I talked to them today also, because I kind of figured that's why we have 3 districts. You can nominate yourself if you like, and you don't need a second, but it has to come from within the district. Okay. Joe Miller has nominated himself for the 116th district. Is there a second? Okay, you won't need a second, but that's fine. Are there any other nominations for the 116th Assembly seat? Are there any other nominations for the 116th Assembly seat? And for a third and final time, are there any other nominations for the 116th Assembly seat? Seeing none, nominations are closed. We do have 2 candidates. We have State Representative Trenee McGee and we have Joe Miller. And I'll ask the Secretary to call the ballot on the 116th district.
Here we go. Joseph Miller. I kind of guessed that. Robin Hamilton. Renee McGee.
McGee.
Jeff Moreno. Christopher Sutton.
Trenee McGee.
Dennis Wright.
Trenee McGee.
Terry Malangone.
Renee McGee.
Patrick Aguilar. Lou Esposito. Morgan Watts.
Trenee McGee.
Tulsa Corky.
Trenee McGee.
Harris McGee.
Trenee McGee.
Gotta figure it out. Stanley Chambers. Renee Barrows.
Renee McGee.
Trenee McGee.
Yes.
Gotcha. Mayor Rossi.
State Representative Trenee McGee.
Kathy Tucker.
Renee McGee.
And that is all of the delegates for the 116th Assembly meeting.
Thank you. Okay, so I'd like to introduce the endorsed candidate for the 116th district, Richmond Seymour.
Before I jump into my speech, I feel emotional because I get to represent people that I really do love, that I care for, that I value. And when Chris says self-sacrifice, I left my career as an actor, many of you all know I'm just for acting, because I felt like I was called to serve. And no matter what that looked like, and I'm telling you, it's hard. It's very, very hard. No matter what, I knew the obstacles that were coming just did not compare to Mr. and Mrs. Tyson, who've been married for 63 years, and Miss Lori, who is a hippie poet who uses her poetry to inspire people and sells it on Amazon. To the young constituents in my district who started businesses, who use their businesses to tackle racial and social justice issues, that's what I get to do every day. I get to represent people like that. And it makes it worthwhile to step away from a contract
I've been able to make a really long-lasting impact. We passed 300 bills in 16 days. It was one of the shortest sessions ever. I have a passion for my community, and I'm able to serve the community I was born and raised in. This session, I supported historical pieces of legislation like HB 5001 and Act Concerning Children's Mental Health, which is the first of its kind in the nation. And what's so beautiful about it is that the students in West Haven were seeking mental health help because our generations value mental health resources. And so now there will be short waiting periods because now kids will have greater access to mental health resources, and especially after what we've all gone through. This also means that with the mental health work, we are putting more and we're investing more into the future, which is really the right now, the generation that I'm part of. I received so many responses from constituents who were so excited to ride the bus for free into December. I was able to be a part of historical tax cuts, one of the biggest in Connecticut history. As a proud member of the BPRC, the Black and Puerto Rican Caucus, I'm the first representative from West Haven to be a part of that historical caucus. I'm the youngest Black woman elected to the House, the first Black state representative from West Haven, and I'm grateful to be an inspiration to the students that I hear from all over the 116th. One thing about me, and I hope that you know, is that I work hard, and I operate from my heart and courageously brave challenges while offering nuanced perspectives. After giving a speech on the House floor, I received responses from women all over the nation, the state, and the 116th. A few days later, I received a call from a high-ranking elected official. Watch the Senate debate. You were mentioned many times in the chamber, and I think you need to hear what was said. I've been here for 17 years. I've heard a lot of speeches in this chamber and downstairs, but a speech that moved me more than any conversation or debate I've ever heard up here was given by a freshman legislator in the House, Representative Trenee McGee, Senator McCory. I believe she was sent here for this moment, for this time, whether people like it or not. She came with the truth. She came with the word. Senator Moore. I've viewed Representative Trenee McGee's testimony. She brought up some things I hope we consider moving forward in the future. Senator Martin. Representative Trenee McGee touched a vein that I cannot close. Senator Bailey Miller. I was honored. And amongst my words and interviews with the New York Times and the Washington Post and the Tennessee Star, I am more humbled to represent people right here in my hometown of the 116th, who not only believes that West Haven is the place they want to live, but they want to stay here and they want to prosper. Together, we can continue to develop and generate economic development, improve our school systems, youth programming, combat food insecurity on college campuses, strengthen our resources for our seniors, veterans, and disabled community, and work with our businesses to improve our communities post-COVID. Thank you for the opportunity to represent you. Thank you for the belief that you have in me to represent you. And I 100% am committed and dedicated to my town. That's why I don't allow people to talk about West Haven at the Capitol. Because I know that this is where I got my gift from. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Trenee, and thank you to everybody in the room. Trenee has qualified for the Citizens Election Program, and her campaign is up and running. We're going to move on to the endorsement for the Judge of Probate Office. That's Judge Mark DeGennaro's office. Mark is away on vacation this week. He does apologize that he could not be here. He thought this convention would probably be next week, and he was off a week, unfortunately. But I do call on Mitch Alignano for a nomination. Here, let me give you this.
Can't hear you.
guys want to hear me, nobody wants to hear me. So I have the great honor of nominating Judge Mark DeGennaro. He's just an upfront guy with me and has become a great friend over the last 6 or 7 years with me. And listen, he's been there for the last 8 years. I don't think there's anybody else that's more qualified to be our probate judge. in the town, in the city of West Haven. And I thank you. I just feel truly honored that I get to do this. I wasn't really prepared to really speak that loud because he's not here, of course. He's on vacation, like you said, Chairman. So thank you again for letting me be the one to nominate Judge Mark DeGennaro.
Okay, I'm going to call on Carol Mazzanotti for a second. Carol, would you like this? Okay.
It's my honor to provide a second nomination for Mark DeGennaro for the judge. Mark, the town is weak, and it is his desire to run for another term. He has 12 years' experience as a judge for the West Haven Probate District. He was elected just a few years ago as the president of the Probate Judges Association. I ask my fellow members to stand with me in this nomination.
Thank you, Carol. Are there any other nominations for probate judge for West Haven? Are there any other nominations for probate judge for West Haven? And for a third and final time, are there any other nominations for probate judge for West Haven? Hearing none, nominations are closed. This is for all the town committee members. All those in favor of Mark DeGennaro for probate judge, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay. Congratulations to Mark. I will let him know that he was nominated unanimously by the West Haven Democratic Town Committee. On the other thing, I just want to go over some of the convention and endorsements. We were over the state, really like that weekend. Huh? We, on May 6th and 7th, we did the U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal, we did Governor Ned Lamont, Lieutenant Governor Susan Weisswitz, Attorney General William Tong, State Comptroller Sean Scanlon, State Treasurer Eric Russell, and Secretary of State Stephanie Thomas. And it was a long 2 days, and everybody that volunteered to be a delegate and went up there, I really do appreciate it. It really is democracy at work. Then we came home on Monday, and we had U.S. Congresswoman Rosa DeLaro's convention, which went really, really well. And then the next night, we did State Senator Gary Winfield and James Maroney. And then the 117th did not have a convention because there was no candidate that will run in that district. But on Wednesday, the state representatives from across the state did meet and endorse candidates. So with that said, I would like to ask Eleanor Slava, if you would, Eleanor, give us an update on Arts West and the Arts Center. And I'll give you this. How's that?
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate being invited to give this update. The Arts Center and its status and the status of Arts West CT has been addressed at City Council and in conversations and a few news articles, so thought it best to kind of give you the rundown. Arts West CT is the name of our new public-facing arts service organization. I'm honored to serve as its president. Ruth Torres, who's sitting here tonight, is vice president, and Mitch Gavagnano is also on the board, along with Zora Rawling, who is an area artist. Her husband is a business lawyer, and Lalani Perry, who works for Yale. Arts West CT has been approved as a new nonprofit by the CT Secretary of State and has been issued its certificate of insurance. We have located an insurance broker and have a certificate of incorporation, excuse me. And our policy is getting bound starting May 25th. So all of this kind of organizing stuff following our Arts and Culture Roundtable that we had on March 5th here. While we await the status of our 501c3 application to the IRS, we have secured fiscal sponsorship from the Arts Council of Greater New Haven so that fundraising can commence in fulfillment of the mission. The mission is to center creative expression and performance by and for the West Haven community. I'll just say that one more time. To center creative expression and performance by and for the West Haven community. And we know we're a community of communities, so that's just gonna keep growing. With the help of dedicated local artists who have designed inclusive programs, we are running them on a pilot basis. Activities include a teen and adult make and sell group, aging in the arts circle, a public arts guild headed up by Samantha Violante, and more. You can please follow us on Facebook at Arts West CT, and there's a newsletter that goes out pretty much monthly. Promising partnerships are budding, including with the West Haven Early Childhood Council, the West Haven Public Library, and the Juneteenth Committee. Meanwhile, the city has selected an architect, Lacey Thaler Riley Wilson, out of Albany, to be its architect for the Art Center at 304 Center Street. This architect was selected from input from a committee. Trenee and Jordan, myself, and a few others were on the committee. And there was a rigorous scoring process where the same questions were asked to all the applicants who responded to the city RFP. What we liked about Lacey Thaler Riley Wilson is that they have a focus on historic preservation. They're from an area that their territory is a wide breadth, not just Connecticut, but all over. They've done a lot of cultural projects, including transforming exactly a former Masonic temple building into a thriving community art center. So we're excited to work with them. The $1.5 million in state bond funding is certainly a start. However, it requires additional funding to complete the building so that we can actually run programs out of it. So the ARPA recommendation from Mayor Rossi for an additional $3.5 million is designed to be coupled with the $1.5 million and complete renovations to a point where we can actually begin running programs. And running programs out of there, of course, means also testing some of the revenue streams that we can generate with the goal of vitalizing the downtown business district, touching all neighborhoods of the city to grow the creative economy and building cultural equity. This is not a project designed for one small group, and that's why it's really good to use ARPA dollars for that, because inherently it creates a very broad mandate for access and inclusivity. Let's see, as we await the verdict, now would be a great time to let your city council person know, if you're, those who aren't city council people in the room, let your city council person know, what your thoughts and feelings are about that. Now is the time. Meanwhile, the Connecticut Office of the Arts is funding a workshop. Save the date if you can, because all here are welcome and all everywhere across the city are welcome. June 10th from 8 to 10 a.m. It's a Friday morning breakfast workshop at West Haven Academy of Karate. And this is called Arts Build Business Build Art. I touched on it when I reported to City Council that the Connecticut Office of the Arts wanted to send us a consultant to bridge the arts and business community. Now we have a date, a time, a place. We have a point person from our new Chamber of Commerce contact. For those who don't know, Simon McDonald. He's from the Milford Regional Chamber of Commerce, which is now inclusive of West Haven, and he's very motivated to do some West Haven specific projects. So this will be one of them. He'll be responsible for putting out the call and gathering up business people, and I'll do my best to get a nice group of arts folks there, and it's to talk about what does the creative economy mean and how we can work together to make arts and culture more valued in our community. So another date is Make Music West Haven Day. That's June 21st, the summer solstice, the first day of summer, the idea of just being outside on the longest day of the year, listening to music, jamming if you play an instrument, and being together at our beach. The Early Childhood Council is working with a local drummer, focused on drumming as a metaphor for communication, collaboration, and a great way to include everyone. We appreciate the West Haven Land Trust for securing the permit for this and look forward to what could possibly become another annual tradition. Like my grandfather said, let's try one in a row, see how it works out. So that's the update so far. If anyone has any questions, I don't know if that's a can of worms to open up here, but I'll certainly try to get with you to find the answers in the interest of time, to not take up the time here for Q&A. But please come and find me if you have any questions, because this can't be a one person or even a committee effort. It really is going to take the whole community to really just show up and say kind of what we want. And creative expression and performance by and for the West Haven community really does include